Hey, David. It's May 15th. It is 11:45 at night. This is part 3 of They Killed Two People. I've got some points to get into here because I think they want to try and use those videos for discrediting me. They want my sister to turn her brain off and anybody else that I deal with. And most people do not have the brains that you do in regards to agents and agencies. My sister is a newcomer at all of this. So I've got to do this video. I literally have no choice because I think what they plan on doing is killing me. And the only way I survive this is by speaking out. I have to figure out what their plans are, and I have to speak out about it so that they can't get away with it. Do you understand? It is the only reason why I am still living. I've got a fire going here. I just put some magnolia leaves on there, and the resins in it go crazy. Yeah, so I've got to do this video. I've got to speak about them killing my uncle, and I've got to get into this teacher dying. Technically, I do not know that they killed this teacher. It can be that he was sick and going to die anyhow. However, and they knew about it ahead of time, but there are many points I can bring up here about that. I do not know the way that I knew that they killed my uncle. That said, they murdered my fucking uncle. And there are many points here in regards to this teacher. And at the end of it, I'll ask you, well, what would your thinkings be? Which is rather the point. But I think they plan on using this for discrediting me with everybody, and therefore people do not even believe that they killed my uncle. And in regards to my uncle, they were giving all sorts of direct innuendos. So that's what I've got to get into here. If they can get people to think I'm just crying wolf and there is no wolf, then people will turn off their ears. And then finally, one day they'll be threatening to kill me and I'll speak out about it and they get away with it. And people will go, oh, well, that's a coincidence because he spoke out about it. Therefore, it happening can't be agents and agencies. And no, that's actually how they would get away with it. People wouldn't believe that they're so bold-faced that they would do it after I've spoken out about it. And actually, I've seen agents and agencies get away with this shit for years on end. That's exactly how they get away with it. They'll tell you they're going to do it. You speak out about it. And then people don't believe you, and then they fucking do it. And then people go, well, it can't be real or true because you spoke out about it, and therefore it wouldn't be them. Their thinking is, we will do it, and you will be in disbelief. Therefore, we get away with it. And that's what's happened. Horvat and her officers were really the masters at this and the inventors of it. So I've got a lot to get into here. What I should do is get into them killing my uncle. Now, my uncle died in the last couple of weeks here, maybe 3 at this point. And weeks ahead of time, about a month ahead of time, what they began doing was affecting my breathing. Now, they were also bringing up this aunt and uncle in particular. And I thought, well, this is weird. This is mysterious. They communicated to me, well, you're not taking us seriously in regards to innuendos and threats against your aunt and uncle here. And I thought, well, that's bullshit. But they were affecting me and I couldn't write things down. So in other words, what they're doing is actually rubbing shit in my face. And because they've been affecting me and I've been unable to keep journal entries for ages now. And this is why. It's so that I do not have proof and I cannot show to my mother or father. This is what they're worried about because I'm living with my mother and father at the moment. Therefore, I cannot go show my mother and father, look, I've got it written down here. This is from weeks ago. And now he's dead. You understand, David? So they don't want me being able to prove and verify that what I am saying is true. Of course they don't. Anyhow, they were affecting my breathing. It's like you're starting to suffocate. You can't breathe. And there's a whole story here. This began with the CIA in December of 2017. I was with Horvat at the end of October and all of November of 2017. And then on December 3rd, I left Horvat. And I moved back to the agents in Dietz who were investigating Horvat. That agent used the name LJ with me. Supposedly his initials, but I don't know that because they're all liars to begin with. But that's what he used for me. It was a man. And that one I do know. There's a story to that. And they're wiping out my memory. God damn it. Hang on. So anyhow, I came back December 3rd to LJ, who was investigating Horvat. That's the asshole that stole the tape that proved Horvat's guilty. And that fucker lied to the Bekia, and he lied to the FBI. So what do I say? I don't like them at all. And they plan on looking me up after I'm free of stalking. So I've got to wake up a group of FBI agents here. It's not going to be the dumb assholes I'm with now, obviously. Anyhow, Horvat communicated to me, well, we'll free you in 4 months. And I thought, 4 months? And I figured it out in my head. I was like, oh, November, December, January, February. And that was a red flag. I thought, that's a kill card. Horvat always kills in February. So then I figured what Horvat would do is I would be there. She would be affecting me heavily with technology, break my will. That's always been Horvat's thing. She's a psychopath. That's what gets her rocks off, David. She sold it to agents and agencies. Well, it's just stalking. Bullshit. That's her real profile out in the open. And dumbasses like the agents I deal with now, they can't even believe it. They're a bunch of morons. They get that Horvat's a psychopath. They just don't get that Horvat's psychology is right out in the open in the motherfucking file in about 1,000 different ways. Okay, these agents are trying to wipe out my memory again. I can see they're going to be a pain in the ass here. Anyhow, yeah, February is always a kill month for Horvat. 2 dead agents, February 2011. It's always somebody dead in February or within a month of it. So Horvat was communicating to me, you stay here with us, I'll free you in 4 months. And I was thinking, that's a lie, first point. The next point is she'll try and break my will and just have me totally whipped and listening to her and doing whatever in the fuck she wants without ever freeing me is the next point. Even though I would be free by any other agents and any agency standard, she'd still be holding me in just to experiment with me. Because she's sick and sadistic and she's a fucking liar. She's already gotten away with doing it in regards to agents and agencies. She's not told the truth in regards to all sorts of shit here. Let's see, what else? Yeah, and then I figured she would kill somebody, and then the whole thing is I would be so broken by her that I wouldn't speak out. And you know what? She still wouldn't have freed me. So I said, fuck that. I am not staying here. And I most certainly am not staying here for 4 months with you. I know what you're up to. You plan on killing somebody in front of my face. And I will never get out of the goddamn town. And by the way, she almost got away with doing that with me. Breaking me down with all this technology and sex stuff, actually. Turning me into her sex slave. She almost got away with it to the point that I almost couldn't leave the last time I was there. And last time I was there with her for 6 fucking months. And all because of technology. So, there's a lot I could say about that. So, anyhow, I knew that Horvat had plans for killing and for February. And this is going to get into J.C. Johnson. So, apparently what Horvat did is she contacted the FBI, who was in charge of J.C. Johnson's life. He was under investigation, especially since he was getting into all of this werewolf shit. He was getting stuff on film and pictures, no doubt. And he and his son and I'm not going to say who, but a backstabber working for the FBI agent worked their way in with JC. And there's a reason that I know this, by the way. Long story short, what they began doing is giving me the suffocating feeling, like I can't breathe. And I wondered about this, and I was with this prick LJ in Dietz. And, they're still getting information on Horvat, and they knew that I wasn't going to stay with them much longer either. And I was threatening to go back to Horvat. Long story short, and I was getting all sorts of other innuendos as well, and I wondered, okay, what's this about? So then I finally leave in first week of February. I get back to, I say the first week, it was actually the end of January. I left Dietz, I went back to Horvat. And shortly, I'd been back less than a week and a half, and J.C. Johnson, quote, died from pneumonia. Now, he didn't die from pneumonia. What he died from was technology. And they've been giving me innuendos in regards to J.C. Johnson. And that's the way that they do this, David, is they'll give you like 10 different innuendos, and you're wondering, what the fuck is that about? And then once they kill the person, you realize, well, those innuendos fit the person that they killed specifically. Do you understand? It fit specifically. And he, quote, died of pneumonia, which he didn't. And this was done on request of the CIA. I know this because Horvat was making innuendos about February. And I knew that she was going to kill somebody in February. And technically she didn't. But I know that she put the FBI up to it. Because that date, that month, I should say, is not a coincidence. And I've witnessed this over and over and over. This is how I know that there is a place that they call things into. And that place is the one that does certain things. Like major headline events, they hear about things. Agents with this technology also give tips, ideas, suggestions. They make requests. Behind the scenes, they contact other agents. And at times, the other agents do things for them. And this was one of those situations. They've been contacted by Horvat and her officers. I don't think it's something that Horvat and her officers heard about ahead of time. I think it was something done in conjunction with those FBI agents. They communicated together, and he was already under investigation. He already fit the profile for a death list, which is in stalking. I am on that death list, by the way, David. And that's why I'm doing this video. It's exactly why I'm doing this video, and I would be dead by now if I had not spoken out. Many times over now at this point in my life. You got to figure out what they're doing, what they're up to. You got to speak out about it. And if you don't, then you die. And this is where I'm at now because these agents are stupid. Now, the reason why I'm getting into all of this is because they were giving a death card in regards to somebody here, and it looked like my aunt or my uncle. They were bringing up my aunt and my uncle. They were threatening to kill me also, and they were making me be unable to breathe like December of 2017. And of course, I automatically think, well, it's a death card, and they know this. It gets imprinted into your mind. It is imprinting. And what do I tell you? My first thought is, well, they're obviously giving an innuendo about killing somebody. They're threatening to kill my aunt or uncle. And then they communicated to me, well, you're not taking us seriously, which is a lie. They were affecting me into not taking it seriously. They've done this before the last time I was here in the States with these dumb assholes, and in regards to a pet parakeet of ours, who my ex had given away. And I think that bird has been killed, and by these agents. And the last time I was here, I haven't been able to find out. They've told my ex-girlfriend to not tell me if that bird is alive or not, because my girlfriend had contact with the people she gave the bird to. And, just to keep an eye on our bird and make sure he's doing all right. And they've obviously told her not to communicate whether or not this bird is alive. So I have strong suspicions here. Why would I not? So, hang on, they're going to be difficult. They're wiping out my memory. So, Just like with that bird, I, quote, wasn't taking it seriously. Well, that's because they were affecting me. Of course, I would take that seriously. They've already killed 3 pets of ours. So, and my family back in Germany, agents did, Horvat and her officer specifically. So you bet your ass I take that shit seriously. Well, it was the same thing here, and the same MO, the same modus operandi here. They're communicating threats in regards to this particular aunt and uncle. Then they're communicating, well, you're not taking it seriously. They're giving me a death sign card. They're affecting my breathing. They're threatening to kill me. And then, sure as shit, a month later, he dies. Now, before he died, one of the things they brought up, which was unusual, is they brought up keep on trucking. And I thought, well, what's that a reference to? It's out of the blue. It's particular chosen language. So that's automatically a red flag. If you were in my shoes, that's automatically a red flag. And you wonder, what are they up to? What does it mean? Why did they pick this wording? What's that about? Because it's not the usual it's not the standard operational procedure, normal language used here when they, quote, communicate with me. Now, this uncle died in a car accident and because of a truck. So, and now if you're wondering how that works, they could just arrange for somebody to pull out in front of my uncle. They make sure my uncle is there. They set the whole thing up. I've seen this over. David, you have no idea. You know, I could give, you know, it's like Alex Jones. You hear Alex Jones say, well, there's so much of this. I just give you, you know, I just say it and I don't explain to you the whole background behind it because there's so much there. And it's the same thing here. I've had, you know, hundreds and hundreds of experiences where they've done stuff like this. It goes on here all of the time. You know, just unusual timing. And it's not unusual timing. It's being done with technology. They affect one person, they affect you, so that you, quote, meet up with each other at an exact time. There's no coincidence to it. You know, there's so much to it. I can't even think of a single incident to pick out and use as an example. That's how many times it's happened. So then he dies in a truck accident. And what do I tell you? It is not a coincidence. The innuendos went on for weeks as well, by the way. Different than Horvat and her officers, but it was going on. And there is absolutely no being mistaken to the fact that these agents were responsible for it. Now, if I tell my mother and father that, or even my sister, what do you think they're going to think? And by the way, I did end up sending off the video links to my sister. Because I didn't really feel there's a choice. Now, that said, I've got to get into the situation here with the teacher. This is much more iffy. What it is they're going to try and use it as a hit piece against me. Now, with this teacher, a few weeks ago, they brought up with me, they did this in a particular way, but you know many Davids. Like, I know you, my brother's name is David, and there were some other things as well, several innuendos they're bringing up, and it fit this teacher and him, quote, dying on the 10th of May. Now, the thing is, his father had a particular type of cancer. He supposedly got it because it's genetic, and that can be true. This is where I don't look good, but there's a whole story here. So I don't know absolutely the way I do with my uncle. They can say, well, look, he was already sick and, you know, he was already in the hospice center. But one, how did they even know to check on this guy? You know, how did they hear about it? This guy was a teacher, and how did they know about this ahead of time? They can say, oh, well, we know that you liked him very much. You wanted to go see him, and you were asking about him last time you're here. Yeah, that's true. But, you know, I've had that coincidence, David. Do you know how many fucking times I had that happen in Rüsselsheim? People dying, and it wasn't all a goddamn coincidence. Somehow Horvat knew ahead of time. Gee, that's a hell of a coincidence. All the people that Horvat happens to bring up just happen to be dying. Oh, like she picked them out that way. Bullshit. That's rather the fucking point. You have no fucking idea. No coincidence, my ass. Now, in regards to this teacher, can it be that that these agents found out ahead of time he was dying naturally to begin with? Yes. But it gets down to the timing. When did this guy have a relapse with his cancer? Because he came up back when I was in Germany, which is why I'm fucking suspicious to begin with. Do you understand? So in other words, if they say, oh, well, he got a relapse in January or November of 2018 or January of 2019, I would be like, well, that's a hell of a coincidence. That's when they were bringing up this particular teacher. That's odd, So the one thing I would like to know is when he had a relapse with the cancer. In this case, it can be that it's just a coincidence. But my question to you is, what would you think if you had just watched them kill your fucking uncle? Do you understand? So what have I done here? Falsely accuse them? These FBI pricks are victims now? Do you understand? But technically, I cannot claim to know the way that I do with my uncle. And that's where they can get away with discrediting me. Now, they obviously knew ahead of time, probably because they planned on killing him, by the way, David. Oh, what a wonderful coincidence that they just happened to look him up and find out about his health. Hang on, there goes my mom. So they literally wiped out my memory, and they used my mom coming out as the excuse. They've been screwing around with my memory real heavy here. So I don't remember where I was, but I will say that what I think they will do is say, well, he's not sure about this teacher, Mr. Thaden, and he's saying he's sure about his uncle, and, that's the thing. They pre-explain things. They'll tell people ahead of time, look, he's going to contact you when he finds out that this teacher has died. Typically this is how they do their business. They'll contact people ahead of time. And then the people are like, oh, he's reacting predictably. And I know this because the FBI told me, and in reality, there's a whole story to all of this. And if they can get people to not believe that they're guilty of murder, then they can get away with murdering me. Do you understand? And that all starts with character assassination first. Now, the next key point is, I wasn't even going to post that first video. I wasn't going to send a video link to anybody. I, in fact, was going to redo the goddamn video because I did not state what I'm stating now in this video. You know what they did? They literally affected me, got me to not only post it and send the link, they got me to do video number 2. So, and this is them. And again, that's about discrediting me. And then when I speak out about this, people find it hard to believe that this can be done with this technology. And in reality, this is the BB gun stuff. This is the peanut stuff. This is the cheap and easy shit to understand. It is remote control. It is remote control for a desired result and a desired effect. And in this case, they want me discredited. And of course, I would have mentioned this in the very first video, the situation in the background here with the teacher. I cannot claim to know entirely. It can be that he was dying from natural causes. But again, for me, the major tell is when did he have a relapse with the cancer? When did this begin happening again? You understand? The next point is, regardless, they still fucking killed my uncle in front of my goddamn face with a million different innuendos for weeks on end before it fucking happened. So under those circumstances, you tell me, do you think maybe the FBI might have murdered this teacher? The point is, in the first video, I would have given this all to you so that you can understand and be objective about this and understand. I look like I'm not objective since it's appearing in the third fucking video. Again, that is not a coincidence. This happened with my sister when I was in Germany. I sent her a video link for mysterious creatures on an island in Thailand. And in reality, it was actors in costumes. And I didn't research it. I didn't investigate. No, nothing. I just sent her the link and I said, look, it's real. And that was to discredit me with my sister. It doesn't begin to be me. Look, you're a researcher. You know how this works. You get a tip, you get a lead, you investigate it thoroughly, and you end up understanding the subject as well as a person who is involved in that particular field to begin with. You know how this works. And I'm no different. That's the point. And they're doing this so that people do not take me seriously. They do not listen to me. And they don't take any of this seriously. It's to discredit me so that they can get away with murdering me. That's it, exactly. God damn, that took long time to get out. And the reality is, I wasn't going to send the video to begin with. I was going to remake the video. So now I've sent off 2 videos. And finally, I'm being able to give all the information in the 3rd video. You know, as a point, back when I was with Horvat, and I was doing videos in 2012 and trying to expose her, she would affect me on video and take the technology off of me. And I'd be like, shit, you affected me in the goddamn video. I'll have to do another video. And so the next day I would sit down and do a video and say, here, they affected me in the video at this point, and they got me to say this, and it's just a technology viewpoint, a technology emotional states. It's not mine at all. You know what would happen? Horvat would literally, I would sit down to do the video, Horvat would literally affect me and have me say that part in the video I did the day before is real and true and totally me. And I almost gave up, David, when they did that. I literally almost gave up and threw in the towel. I was like, fuck, who's going to believe me when I speak out about what they did this time? Now I got 2 videos to point out, and I've got to explain it. And people think I'm a lying asshole as a result. It wasn't the case back then, and it's not the case now. So I seriously hope you look at this video. I hope you see it and you take a look at it after looking at the first 2. That's why, even though it's late at night and I would love to relax, I'm doing this video because I don't want you to miss this. And I hate to send you a 3rd video link. I hate to bother you. What they're trying to do is burn people out so that, you know, I send video links and then people just shrug their shoulders. They just blow it off. What they want to do is be able to get away with killing me. And that's these agents in particular. When I deal with the next agents, looks like these agents will have put a fatwa on my head here. It's possible, but if I get a group of agents with a brain and they decide to do what these agents did not do, which is to actually take a look at what I have to say here and investigate, just do a little bit of digging, then that all changes and these agents are in a world of shit. So we see how it goes here. But I am doing this video because I am worried about my life. I can't get hysterical about it or anything. I've got to be focused. I've got to deal with it. I've got to be centered. And I've got to think clearly and see what it is they're up to and why they're doing the things that they are doing. So that's it. This video is very long already. I'm going to end here. And look, David, I really appreciate it. I hope to be able to pay you back one day. Thanks a lot.